Oh, I override it here. Two classification is a different type than what it is here. Oops. And I never defined it anywhere else. Hello. Old VIP. Too many classification calls. Yeah, just an assert. Looks public to me. Yeah. Classify as a private member of position. Declared private here. Yeah. Data can only be constructed from a classification. And a classification can be constructed from bits and ply, or nothing. Passing ply here. What's it? What should I be passing to bits in? Hey, what? No, this is the whole constructor's nonsense. I can now know what bitch is. That's being set here. First, second. Ditto that this is. Derived from classification. Is made, which is public. So data has an is public, which is second. Second has is made. Cannot construct. Same thing. Passing ply while we should be passing classification. Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. This is my rewrite. Annoying thing is though, I wanted to do two things in parallel. So I do not really want to break this code. I think the thing is that it already exists, right? It's kind of the same thing as what I just did. So it should already exist, as in call this an iterator and just find it. And well, yes, it should exist. If it was successful to include it, well, we didn't include it. If adjacent position already exists in the map, yeah, well, it did. Yeah, this code, this whole code is broken anyway. It's just commented out. Then, for now. I also don't need the adjacent position anymore, because that is called from here. No, it's not. It's called differently, I think. Generate. This one. Adjacent positions with an S. So the call to classify now fills these two maps with all positions, although divided over two maps. So we don't do this anymore. I want to run over all positions. I can just run over both maps. We can access them. No accessors. Yeah, for debugging purposes, I guess I need accessors. It's color type. Oh. Hello, graphics. I'm okay. Integers. Yeah, I thought data had it, but it doesn't. Okay, so this is a map of, well, it's a nodes type, which is a standard map with the keyboard, and data is the second thingy. And if we run over it like this, then this is going to be value type, aka a standard pair of board and data. So the second part then is of course the data part, and then I need a classification. Apparently we have data. Classification is just a base class. Oh, whoops, it is already classification then. Yeah. So we're trying to find a board in black to move, and we can't find it. Well, it would be interesting to know which board that is. Or maybe the reason is that I didn't fill it yet. This is the very first board, it cannot be found. Looks like a legal mid position. So yeah, I probably didn't fill it yet. This should be filling it. What the hell? I know C++. I do not know laptops. So you're better off asking somewhere else. Sleep. Okay, what's going on? Ooh, this happens in the constructor. Yeah, then it's not filled yet, obviously. I suppose I just should not do this at all in the constructor. Yeah, that looks correct. I didn't completely fuck it up. So let's go to the description of the video, below the video, description of the YouTube. And I wrote, it now seems to work but doesn't really, and debugging this is very hard, so instead I'm going to try a new approach, rewriting graph from scratch. Step 1, move the analysis generation of all legal positions and classification to a graph member function and put all those positions into standard maps. Black to move and white to move. We did succeed because this is the total. And I'm pretty sure that that is the accurate number of legal positions, which I have pasted somewhere. Let me find that back. 70,984. Yeah. So step 1 must be done because I'm printing this with that value, which is just the sum of the two map sizes, meaning that we definitely moved all legal positions to one or the other side. Map, I mean. And the classification has also been done because I was able to count it. Step 2, run over all positions in both maps and generate all boards that can be reached forward moves from it. Then add a link between them. Okay. So do that in the member function. Shall I call it? This generates links, legal move links, basically. To write this. kind of the same thing as .cxx as here. So for both colors, black and white, we get the correct map, this one or that one. And I'm already inside graph, so I don't need to specify that, nor this. That won't even compile. In fact, I can just access the member directly. And then we run over all positions in that map. But yeah, let's split them up. Standard pairs, I don't like them. First and second, never very clear. So we have a board. And we have data. Data is also not very clear. Data exists of the classification object and possible moves. Well, in this case, we are going to add links, and the links mean that we are going to add iterators here. So we kind of need data, and then we're going to call add edge. I mean, this is what we have to call. We might need the classification zone, so we can call member functions on data as well. Most notably one of these, which are all const. Should have a const classification thingy. There's no reason to change this. But we do want to change this. So we have a non-const data. Should have a non-const data. So I want to call this. Is that even possible? Board is the key, so this is definitely const, but this is just data. You can change that at will. I think they should compile at the very least. It's just it. Nope. That drops the const qualifier. Why is it const then? Well, because the map is const. Yeah, well, in this case then we don't want a const map. Oh, actually, because the map is const, you can only get a const reference, but I don't want a const reference here, because then I can't change it, right? So we want something like that. Okay, that would work. So slightly annoying that now that data is a classification, which I can change, but it is already set. I wouldn't want to be tempted to do that. So I could try to get say an accessor to this thing, non-const accessor. Split that up. That's not the right way to do it. You have to, if you want to add this, then you have to call a member function on data. What I could do is have a const data, so we can't change classification, and then mark this thing as const and mark this thing as mutable. That would work. It's an option. I think I'm gonna go for what we have now. So step 2, right? Run over all positions in both maps. Well, we should be doing that. This runs over both maps. Sorry, map. And then we run over all positions, all boards anyway. And this contains also whose move it is. Or doesn't it? Actually, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Classification does not contain whose move it is. Okay, I'm completely silly, yes, because we know whose move it is. That's the move of color. To move is the color. Okay, so we know whose move it is. We know how the board looks like. We have the classification, and we have the vector that we have to add the links to. Now we have to generate all boards that can be reached by moving a piece. And the piece that must be moved, because we're going forward, is the color of that piece, that one. So here we run over something like all positions. It's purely board, right? So I could say, let's go with the slow option. So we have a standard folder. Let's make it an auto. I'm lazy. What do you call positions that you can reach in one ply? Following, up, next, subsequent. The opposite of preceding. Succeeding. So yeah, next position. I think I'm gonna go for succeeding though. Step 2 was run over all positions board map, generate all boards that can be reached forward moves from it. Then add a link between them. So we get all those boards that can be reached. And then we run over everything in this. So I'm gonna return a vector there. So this is a vector. And running over elements of a vector using this range notation thing with the column gives me boards. And I'll just type boards here. What? And I need to add, this board is const, so I can't add anything to this board. Actually, data, right? I'm going to add something to data. But I want it to be pointing, I need an iterator. So we can add an iterator to data. Is that how it works? What the hell was it? Add edge requires a nodes type iterator. This is a map. It basically points to a standard pair of board and data. But okay, if you have a board, you can find it in the map. Yeah, that's how it should do it then, right? So I have boards here, which are simply const reference boards. And then each board is, we find each board in the opponent map. Need that as well then. The other map. So I get my iterator by looking in the other map for this board. And if we don't find anything, then it's probably an illegal move. So you can ignore it. Otherwise, I think I wanted to add links that go forward. So I kind of don't even need this. Or do I? Yeah, of course. So we add in data an edge that points to the succeeding board. So now we get data add edge ether. That should work. This takes an, yeah, I'm calling it next instead of succeeding. Still like succeeding better. Yeah, so now we have in data this iterator, but the iterator points to the succeeding board. So theoretically, basically, we have, well, in what the hell is the word? As a result, I don't know what the word is. We have a pointer from data to the succeeding board, which is what I wanted. Still need to implement this though. Get succeeding boards. And it must compile what I typed, and maybe I should fill in the types a little bit better. I think this is acceptable, especially because here we split it up immediately. and these types should be known. This I probably should type in full so we know what it is. So it is just a vector of boards. And then we can run over all those boards. And this iterator, yeah, it doesn't really matter what the type is. I mean, I know what the type is, if you just look here. So this is the type. Might well fill it in, I suppose. Okay, let's add the succeeding boards member function to boards. Add it to low. Don't know where to put it. Usually you just put it somewhere. There was a vector. To determine legal. Did I put it below this function as well? Let's see if it compiles first. Nope, does not compile. Did you mean black to move? Yes, I did. Well, maybe I did. Black to move? No, I didn't. I only meant white. White to move. White to black. What was I doing there? Black to move. No. Just the opposite of the other one. This argument to a member function get succeeding boards has type const board but function not marked const. Definitely should be marked const. So let's edit the header. Put const after it, and then same thing here. Okay, and I compiled. Doesn't even crash. Strange. I'm just going to implement it. Okay. Yeah, it depends on who is to move. Oh, we don't know that. I have to pass that. to move is black, then the black king must move. So let's construct the succeeding board basically from the current board. And then we do something, and then we call set black king square. Yay, it gets a color, so that was the one. Which takes a square. So we have to generate a new square for the king, and then we set it, and then everything is done. This means that the rest is left alone, so only the king moved. And after that, I'm just going to add it to the results. Yeah, and here we do the exact same thing, but then with the white. And then again, actually, for the possible rook moves, set white rook. That won't work because already moved the king then. So I have to make a new copy. Yeah, which means that this should just probably just in its own scope, and this too. This must be in a loop, right? I mean, if I set it, then I already changed it, but it doesn't matter if I use the same board. I just move it around to black king. It doesn't matter where the king was if I change it again. So we can do this once and then have the loop. I'm just going to run over 9 positions and ignore one of them. So let's say dx is -1. Dx is less than or equal 1 plus dx. And also for dy. Yeah, I don't need to do that. I could do dy plus is dx equals 0 to otherwise 1. So the thing is that the question mark is a very low precedence. So you can safely do blah 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 question mark without needing parentheses around it. But the whole tertiary operator often needs parentheses. If I would not do this, then it would do la 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 la, evaluate, and then the question mark, just like I said before, which is not what you want. Unless I'm mistaken and the precedence of this is higher than that operator, but well, let's not take a risk here or spend time finding that out. I just put parentheses around the tertiary operators. play it safe. Maybe the... Okay, now I'm curious. Okay, I'll ask a bot somewhere what the precedence is. Jordi is the bot called, colon, precedence, and then remove all the parentheses. And does it need it? It says that without any parentheses, the precedence is this, which is exactly what we want. So apparently this is an even lower precedence, which kind of makes sense, I guess. In that case, I don't want to look silly. I'll just remove this. So this now skips dx is 0 and dy is 0, because if dx is 0, dy is 0 is skipped. It goes straight from -1 to 1. Then the subsequent square has coordinates. So the current black king x coordinates is black king dot x, actually, like that. For the x and y here. And then we know what the square is, namely where the thing is currently, plus dx, comma, currently y plus dy. I'm not checking anything, because error prone. Once I have something that works, maybe I'll start to improve it a little bit in terms of some extra checks to make it faster. I have too many errors now, so yeah, this is straightforward. And just try out everything and add everything, including illegal moves, like putting king outside the board and stuff, next to the other king. White king taking the white rook. Because I already put in many days to get a function that is guaranteed now correct, which checks if something is illegal or not. Okay, we only have, the maps are filled with all the legal positions, so if we can't find it in the map, then it was probably illegal. Easy enough. Now to do stuff for the white king here, kind of the same. Very much the same. current white king X, current white king Y. Looks good. And here this thing was moved the white rook. How do we do that? Also 2 loops maybe. Well, you really have to take care you don't move through a king. This is where the rook is currently, and we're going to move it here in some direction over some distance, and then we set the rook there and add a new board. Looks good, right? Yeah, well, whatever. What? Has it been 4 hours already? Nah. 1 hour and 40 minutes. It's nothing. And just want to finish what I wrote in the description. Can't move through the white king. Yeah, so if the pawn's coordinates become equal to the white king, then we do not want to add it, and we want to stop going in that direction. So continue is completely wrong. It should be a break. So we stop the distance, and therefore we go to the next direction. And if that's not there, we just go to the whatever. Okay, so yeah, that should work. Yeah, might as well. And you're talking in the wrong window or something, because if it's not about this stream, then you said how you sit for this long. Oh, you mean my stream, but another stream? Yeah, sometimes streams are 4 hours. Yeah. Isn't that like normal? I mean, if you have a job, you also sit 4 hours and then you have a short break, 20 minutes, or maybe lunch, longer than 20 minutes. And then again. Programmers sit a lot. I do have a very good, chair. At some point, my body completely broke down. I couldn't. It couldn't do it anymore. Sitting behind my PC this long. And then I did build my own computer table, and I bought the most expensive chair I could find. I think if I sit on a shitty chair, like not having armrest or something, then I would not be able to sit 4 hours. Then everything would start to hurt. But yeah, not like this. I'm sitting very ergonomical. I must say, if I get up, then my hips are a bit painful sometimes for a few minutes. I have to walk around and then it goes away. So it would be much better if I got up more often. I'm not rich, but if you can't sit behind your PC anymore, then there is only one thing that counts. Get that fixed. Some people buy a car. I don't buy a car. I don't have a car. I don't smoke. I seldom buy new clothes. I put all my money in my computers and well, my chair. Yeah. I literally spent my life in this chair. So yeah, I think I'm allowed to buy a very good chair. Should have done that earlier, before I got all these problems. And that was a long time ago. And I still have that chair. So all in all, it wasn't that expensive. I probably should cut this off when we step outside the board, right? I mean, it's kind of silly to be on one edge and then go the whole, let's say the board size becomes 256 at some point. Then adding 256 positions with the hook is outside the board. It's just nonsense. Now, of course, I could calculate. Yes, this is my personal project. I could calculate the limit here, but that's again error prone, and I want to keep things very simple. Very simple. Maybe I shouldn't even do this, because this already would work. I just make it, just add a chance that I make a mistake if I do this. I will do this, but later, you know. We can test this on a small board. And then if it works, I'll just make 2 implementations and I have to compare them, which is also work, but what is the expression in English? I don't know. I ran into problems now so often that I just want it to work. Okay, now we have to test it. I mean, it's still just counting. Oh, well, it's executing it, and that leads to assertion. In add edge. Oh, because I'm not filling possible moves. What possible moves? Oh, no, it's adding the same edge twice. Yeah, why is that happening? It should never happen. No, I don't have a job. The out entering DC notice. Can't print data. Damn it. Can't type anymore. It's kind of silly to do this though, because the classification is going to need it as well. Let's just move it to classification. It's a stupid keyboard. So the capital O here is purely because I have to type shift for the underscore. And then the shift is not released in time. Well, I do release it, but keyboard is too slow or something. So I release shift, type O, and then I still get a capital O. Very annoying. If def w debug and if this is part of classification, include classification obviously .h, include sys.h, and then we print here. What do we print? Well, bits and made in moves. Not very much. Not very useful either. What do you what you do when you get demotivated or you never get demotivated? Tough question. I don't think I ever get demotivated, but sometimes I feel like I can't do it, which feels like that I'm getting less bright, less smart than I used to be. So every time I run into something that I can't do, is too difficult, feels too difficult, it's usually because I just don't have the overview anymore. So I can't have as much in my brain at the same time as I used to. And that then gives a deep feeling of depression-ish, aka demotivation, as in I can't do anything anymore. And yeah, I don't know. And if I'm convinced that I really can't do it, then I just start a new project. But otherwise, yeah, if I look at the past, so I guess you were much younger, I just never gave up. So no matter if I run into something and it's difficult, then I just keep doing it until it works. But I do get distracted because it is possible that you want to do a certain program and you divide it in sub projects, and then you do sub project A and then you do sub project B, and B turns out to be very difficult, so you subdivide that up in sub projects, and then you do sub project BA and BB and BC, and then BD turns out to be very difficult. So, and then in the end, I just get lost in sub projects, which become so big that I never return to the original project anymore. My dad once joked that after a few decades, I told him about a certain program, and he said, "Oh, and all of that is necessary to to write Reversi, right? For Othello." Because that's what basically all started. When I was a young teenager, I wrote a program to play Othello. If you know the game. No. Game. Yeah, this game. Play Othello online. Oh, let's do that. Your turn. I'm who? Tell I know that, dude. Login, register. Your turn. It's so unclear. Well, I'm gonna assume I'm white, and I want to... No, clearly I'm black. Okay, let's play here. This computer can't play. So now I already won. That's ridiculous. Oops, probably might give that away now. Oh no, well, it was just because the computer was playing really bad. Hey, I won. Anyway, I wrote a program when I was like 15, I think, that I could not win from. And I had to write all kinds of programs to write that program, if you get what I mean. That like never ended. So no, seriously, what I'm doing now is nothing to do with hotel. At some point, I think it has to do with chess. Yeah, yeah, it has to do with chess, purely chess. It's a completely new project. Why is this failing? That? No. C++ didn't even exist then. I wrote it in BASIC. Or GFA BASIC. I think it was. You think? Probably, yeah. It was on a die. It was this computer with 48 kilobytes of RAM. And I think 2 megahertz as CPU clock. Oh, fancy. No, we had this one. The older one. Let's see if they still know what GFA Basics is. GFA Basic. I think that's what I coded in. Yeah, they even know that. Amazing. But it looks like this. Looks like this. No, he had line numbers. I'm pretty sure he had line numbers. Well, no, it's the other way around, I guess. GFA Online, your basic editor. Wow. Now, basic has line numbers. You can do go to and then a line number, right? But this wasn't basic in the sense that it even did not have line numbers. Yeah. 15, that would have been in 1979. Yeah. Well, the 15 was a guess. I think it was like 2 years or something-ish. Maybe 1 or 2 years after the die came out. Let's say 2 years. But it's still inaccurate. And also a guess. Although I'm not one... Yeah, I think we kind of bought this die. My dad bought it. When it came out. So if I would go back to that website with the die, and then maybe you could figure it out. Okay, I'll just type it in. Die computer. Give me a year. What? 1981? No way. It does say that 40 kilobytes. Release date 1982. So 1980. Wow. Well, I'm pretty sure I wrote it on the die. So that would have been 1982 then. So I was much older. 18 even. When I wrote Othello. Yeah, why do you think I said that due to old age I can't do anymore what I did in the past? I can't write complex programs anymore, or programs that are as complex as I did, as I used to. Because I just can't have it in my head anymore, somehow. I think I'm just... The older you get, you just lose the neurons. So, yeah. At some point it becomes noticeable. It's comparable, I guess, with the fact that there are no 60-year-old world chess champions. They're all young. Grandmaster at 13, their peak at 24, and then if they still get paid at 35, then they're to play in tournaments, and they must be happy. And the same thing is kind of with me. I just get older and older, and I really starts to be noticeable in my eyes in terms of what I can do on the computer. Now, what is this? Entering at edge. Dude, that's even uninitialized. It's completely uninitialized. Ridiculous. GDB break run totally uninitialized. So that would be the succeeding board is uninitialized. Up. Iter. So iter is pointing to something that doesn't exist. How the hell did we get it then? We just found a board. We looked for and found this board. Then, huh? Okay, so we have a map. We find this board. The board is printed here, and the board says the black king is at -1, -1. Okay, that pretty much also not a legal position, but we should not be able to find that. Oh, this must be equal. We are printing end. 246. That kind of mistake has nothing to do with my age, by the way. It's just stupid. I'm really talking about having an overview of something that is very big and complex. 264. Yeah, obviously, if it is equals to end, then we want to continue. exit normally. Oh, that's something. This might have been succeeded, right? How do we test that? I guess just pick a random position and then... How about I allow myself to explore? That is, pick a position, we print it, and then we print all the boards that can follow with an index, and then I allow myself to type which board I want to go to, as in doing a move. And then we should be able to move around with only legal positions. Just to have a feel if this is indeed more or less working. Just take the first position where white is to move. Well, at least we know it is not a mate position. Why is it not getting a color? I had an accessor. Here. Why to move map? I want a board pointer. Probably needs to be console. And that we get the first entry. So this is a map. Then do a begin. That's the first one. Dereference it. That is the standard pair, and then we get first. That is the board. And then we need to get the pointer to that, because it's a reference of a board. And then I want to print this board. So we do a for loop. I print this board. Current position, right? Yeah, I wanted a pointer. Well, I got a pointer. Wait a minute. Yeah, okay. Current position. That doesn't look like a position that has a rook. So annoying. Well, it is possible, of course. White to move? Well, it just took to my rook. That's not useful. It must be a position where I still have a rook. How do I get that? Don't use AI. Yeah, people have asked me that more often. Hold on. I don't know what advice to give. I think it's just hard work. And then there are people complaining about motivation. So maybe they are doing computer science on the university, and they feel exhausted, and they think they need motivation to continue working hard enough. For me, it has not been like that. I didn't do computer science. I started programming when I was 12, and I just never stopped. It was my life. I didn't want to do anything else. From a very young age, I was sit me behind the computer, and the hours would fly by. I was never tired either, or bored or anything. I just find it super interesting to explore the world of programming. Not entirely true, by the way. My main hobby when I was a teenager and till I was 26, I think, was electronics. I spent by far most time soldering, designing and soldering circuits, electronic circuits. Build a lot of stuff. Board either first. Okay, let's see. We got an iterator here. The first position of that thing. But if it does not have a rook, I just want to go to the next position. Until it has a rook, and then we get a pointer. That should work. Except I don't have a has rook. So now board must have a has rook thingy. What do I have? I remember vaguely that I do have something like it. No? I remember I kind of decided to not do that because I might as well compare the coordinates. Could add it, but nah. I thought it was kind of pointless, but now I need it. Okay, so this is my first position and Y to move. And then we print all positions that we can reach from this position. Okay, all legal moves. Good night. What you do a little bit, printed it, and now no break. No problem, I'll see you. Maybe. Sleep well. That's the data. Data has this thing. I need to access it. I do need an accessor for that. Nah, let's just run over indexes. Oh, I already had an accessor. Oh, cool. Tja. Would have been a hell of a lot nicer if it printed it on a row instead of all like that. How can I do that? Man, it looks like a lot of work. Could make a class that wraps around a string stream, output string stream, and then have this thing print well, this anyway. So we print all this to the string stream, and then this to another object, also a string stream, and so on till the end. And then I say put the contents of the string stream of the first 8 or whatever all on one row. Then that code would have to figure out, well, it could read lines, line by line, from the result of the string. And it would have to align it up, of course, so determine how many spaces need to be added before the next line is added. Maybe it's doable. I think you need to determine the width and the height. So it's a kind of a rectangle for each object. Definitely need to be able to run over all the lines. So maybe first convert it to an array of strings. Of a vector of strings. Maybe this is something an AI can do. Let's try that. I'm gonna ask Claude to do, because that's definitely the least worst one. Box pointers. Hello, Ed. It's not going well, as you can see. I think the length is calculated wrong because I'm using UTF-8. And I think it's just using yeah, so the kings here seem to be wide, and then here we have one less, therefore it indents one extra space, so it thinks that the two kings are one space wider than the rook. And again one space here, so it thinks that the rook is two characters wide, while it is only one character wide. Well, compared to this, actually, I should look at this, of course. You have two dots here. The rest is the same character, so getting rid of the rook means we need an indent of two spaces. So I think the rook is 3 characters wide. Does that correspond with this? This is 2 characters wide. If that would be the case, then this is 2 plus 2 plus 3 is 7. And this is 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. So yeah, then you need one space. And this is 3 plus 3 plus 2 is 8. So that's again one more than this one. Bottom line, it should count any UTF-8 character as one character. Line length. So instead of line length, and I guess it's doing this only here, hopefully. Nope, it's also doing it there. I'll I think you just have to subtract all characters that have the first bit set. We kind of have to count the number of characters that have the first bit set, I think. Line here is a standard string, so let's say I write a function that takes line and returns the length. No, width of sounds better. With cached. What's the type of with cache? Size type. Maybe this works. That's just fail. It's about 16. Let's try 40. Oh, it doesn't seem to work at all. As in, at all. I have this. Is this usable? Returns the length of the UTF encoded clips, which is highly recommended. No, huh? Yeah, to be either guaranteed, correct, UTF-8, or points inside a zero terminated string. The pointer does not point to a legal UTF-8 clip, then 1 is returned. The zero termination is necessary to detect the end of the string in the case that the apparent encoded clip length goes beyond the string. Oh, yeah, of course. Now I'm checking the first bit of every... But no, not of course, actually. Yeah, well, actually it is, of course. Ugh. Could use this clip length. I do still need to convert every character to a char8 type then. Perfect. Now we're talking. So this current position, these are all the possible subsequent positions. So the king was moved. King moved that way, king that way. The rook was moved. Looks like indeed all possible moves that white can do. So now I need to read an integer. And then we jump to that position. Read an integer. How do you do that? Guess I can update or even should update iter because it's being used there. Iter becomes I can use I, why not? And also update board. That should be it. Now let's try it. I'm gonna walk away with my king. And then I can... Well, let's see what the legal moves are if we go here. So I just talk one. Yeah, only one legal move. It has to take the rook. And if I take the rook, I suddenly have a lot of possible moves. Yeah, I don't think so. This is not good. White can just magically create a rook out of nothing by moving the rook. Cannot move the king though. That is strange. Why can I not just move the king? That this position exists. Then the position with the white king anywhere else should also exist. But it was not detected because okay, if I move the king, I mean the black just took it, so now it's white to move. But if I move the king, and then I get a position where indeed we're just still two kings, but then black is to move, which is counted as an illegal position. White must be to move. So that I cannot move the king is correct. Move the king, black to move. Yeah, that's not allowed. Okay, so how do I have moves? Or the position is draw. I think I'm going to fix this, that you should not be able to move the rook from under the king and create it out of nothing. And then I'm gonna go for a walk. So where does this happen? In I don't know, graph? Graph should be doing this kind of generation. Classification, that just generates all the positions. Generate edges, this must be the one. Yeah, rather than get succeeding boards. This returns those boards, that's not allowed. So really it is C tags. It's this function. Which I coded to be very dumb. That is true. So I do, in a case like that, I'm generating white king moves, which are then all treated by the caller as illegal. And I'm generating all rook moves without caring about anything. But I should just not generate any move, I think. If a white to move and there is no rook, then yeah, definitely not rook moves, but also the king moves are counted as illegal, so that might as well just generate nothing. So if something, then return or break or what? Return result. Okay, must return a result. So yeah, let's do it like this then. If not a draw. So if the white rook is unequal the black king. Now, what if the if it is black to move? That should never happen, because that would be an illegal position. Black to move and the rook is captured. This doesn't occur. But that doesn't mean that this looks logical, because if it would occur, then it would also be illegal, and I might as well not generate any move. So maybe it's better if I just make this an exception for the whole function. And then I just want to return an empty thing, but yeah, I don't know if the compiler is smart enough to understand that it might as well return the result in this case. So it's using copy elation here, meaning that the caller will put this vector on the stack and then call this function, and then this function will use that vector on the stack. So it does not do this. It's already on the stack of the caller. And then returning, it doesn't do anything either, because it's a given that it's on the stack of the caller. So we return, and then the caller already has it. But if we return this, then it might be like, oh shit, now I have to do something. Well, that thing on the stack was already constructed like this. It's probably smarter to just return the results. But if of course it is no different, so any good compiler should do the same thing. Should see, well, okay, you want the default constructed, result is default constructed, therefore we might as well do nothing and simply return. Otherwise it would again default construct a vector and then have to copy that over result in the stack of the caller. Or even better, I think, you just have one return result at the end, and then just go to the end immediately, which basically would look like if white rook is unequal that, then we do all this, and otherwise we do nothing. So something like that. But nobody wants to have an extra indentation for all of this. So we can also do nothing, which is horrible. Really, kind of. So if they are equal, then I could say, okay, then don't do anything. Else we continue with that. But now I just leave away the return here. Never mind. Anything works. I don't know. Okay, let's move the king away. So that was 1, and we have to take it. 0, and there is nothing. No. So if now I type something, then we should crash, because there's no test. I can't type anything because we don't have an option. Let's do something that makes more sense. I'm gonna move the rook. I have this position that doesn't work. That's definitely something I want to investigate. Oh, wait a minute. That didn't work in the previous case. This just works. I mean, what can be wrong? What can be wrong on top of what we just fixed? Okay. Anyway. There was a problem with this position, I think. Or, well, going back. Oops. Damn it. No, I didn't lose it. This position was wrong. with black to move. So I want to go to this position on a 5x5 board. So my rook is going to walk to, oh, I can only walk forwards. Yeah? So, okay, I put my rook on, I put my king here anyway. But I need to keep the rook. Some reason I can't remember this because this is, okay. Can I remember it? Hope so. That was the position, right? No, it wasn't. Yeah, actually it was. Okay. Yep. And then the options are, well, the black king has to move and it can only go there, 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 or there. That's four positions. Yay. And one of them is this one. So we're going to follow the mate now. The longest way to mate is going here. And then we cut the king off. So we do this, 5. And then the king goes back, 1. And we keep the king cut off. So we do this one, 2. And then the king moves further that direction. It's 1. And then we move the rook along, 3. And then the king goes even further, I think. Or it doesn't really matter, might as well go up. Let's go up. And it's time we move the king. So I guess 0. Now king moves back, of course. 4. Then we do 0 again. And now definitely has to go up. 2. Then we do also 2. And then we do 1. And then we do this one, 7. And then we do 2. Yeah, it looks good. I don't see anything weird. Okay, play till mate maybe and then see if indeed there is no moves anymore. Where are we here? Could move the rook backwards. 12. No, that was probably not the best move actually. 2, yeah. Can I do this? No. Just give check, right? 11. Zero. Come forward with the king. It's only one move. Move the rook back, 10 for example. Only one move. And now we can give mate with 8. And then we don't have moves anymore, so that looks good. Yeah. Okay, there's another draw position possible. I could try stalemate, I guess. That's an easy one. Just move the king 1 down and it's stalemate. So 0. Ding, yep, no moves. What about if the king, if it's a draw because the king can escape? It's not really a draw, but I can make it a draw. That's a lot of moves though again. But oh, immediately stalemate. Very good. Oops. I have to go down. 10. 0. 6. 2. 0. Why not? And then we move with the king. 3. So here is white to move, and then I do a move, and then black can escape. That is counted as a draw, which probably should give no moves then, right? No possible moves. Oh, actually, there are legal moves, of course. No, that's no problem. You can moves are allowed, okay, but position must be detected in eventually this draw, and then black will step off the board, and then it leads to the search for a mate will stop. So let me put the rook here, 8. Oh, I can give check, 9. Yeah, just keeps it, the only legal moves here are back because you are not allowed to step off the board. You're gonna go there, there, and there. Not there because the white king is here. So this is a draw, and this is also a draw, but not known to be a draw. So it would be classified as, well, I don't know yet. Because white still move. Otherwise these two would also be a draw, of course. Excuse me, boy. Yeah, I think it works. As in, that was step 2. Run over all positions, both maps generate all boards that can be reached, blah blah blah, add a link between them. Also add a link in the opposite direction. Maybe I should do this too, before I go for a walk. It starts to get dark outside though. I think I'm gonna go for a walk. Yeah, good night people. I'll be back later this evening, very maybe, or otherwise definitely tomorrow. With more chess adventures. Well, actually one fun thing to do. Now we have this. Slow. Yeah, that's what you get. But accurate. It is so slow that I'm never going to try 256 with this implementation. Oh my god. I might as well go for a walk while this is running. I probably have to test this on a smaller board and then write until it works, and then write a faster implementation that gives the same result. And then I can run that one on a larger board. 16 is like really the minimum. Yeah, no idea how long this is going to take. Okay, I'll keep it running. So